Birthright and blessing. Today's scripture and insight. Genesis chapter 25 verses 1 to 34. Abraham had taken another wife, whose name was Keturah, and she bore him Zimran, Jokshan, Madon, Midian, Ishbak, and Shua. Jokshan fathered Sheba and Dedan. Dedan's sons were the Asherim, Letishim, and Lumim. And Midian's sons were Ephah, Epher, Hanich, Abida, and Eldah. All these were sons of Keturah. Abraham gave everything he owned to Isaac. But Abraham gave gifts to the sons of his concubines, and while he was still alive he sent them eastward, away from his son Isaac, to the land of the east. This is the length of Abraham's life, 175 years. He took his last breath and died at a good old age, old and contented, and he was gathered to his people. His sons Isaac and Ishmael buried him in the cave of Machpelah near Mamre, in the field of Ephron son of Zohar the Hethite. This was the field that Abraham bought from the Hethites. Abraham was buried there with his wife Sarah. After Abraham's death, God blessed his son Isaac, who lived near Beer Lahai Roi. These are the family records of Abraham's son Ishmael, whom Hagar the Egyptian, Sarah's slave, bore to Abraham. These are the names of Ishmael's sons. Their names according to the family records are Nebaioth, Ishmael's firstborn, then Kedar, Adbeel, Mibsam, Hadad, Tema, Jetur, Naphish, and Kedma. These are Ishmael's sons, and these are their names by their settlements and encampments, 12 leaders of their clans. This is the length of Ishmael's life, 137 years. He took his last breath and died, and was gathered to his people. And they settled from Havilah to Shur, which is opposite Egypt as you go toward Asshur. He stayed near all his relatives. These are the family records of Isaac son of Abraham. Abraham fathered Isaac. Isaac was 40 years old when he took as his wife Rebekah daughter of Bethuel the Aramean from Padan Aram and sister of Laban the Aramean. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. The Lord was receptive to his prayer, and his wife Rebekah conceived. But the children inside her struggled with each other, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said to her, "Two nations are in your womb. Two peoples will come from you and be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." When her time came to give birth, there were indeed twins in her womb. The first one came out red-looking, covered with hair like a fur coat, and they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out grasping Esau's heel with his hand. So he was named Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when they were born. When the boys grew up, Esau became an expert hunter, an outdoorsman, but Jacob was a quiet man who stayed at home. Isaac loved Esau because he had a taste for wild game, but Rebekah loved Jacob. Once when Jacob was cooking a stew, Esau came in from the field exhausted. He said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stuff, because I'm exhausted." That is why he was also named Edom. Jacob replied, "First sell me your birthright." "Look," said Esau, "I'm about to die, so what good is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me first." So he swore to Jacob and sold his birthright to him. Then Jacob gave bread and lentil stew to Esau. He ate, drank, got up, and went away. So Esau despised his birthright. With his wife Sarah. In this case, the author wants to confirm God's promise to Isaac, contrasting that with Ishmael. Even though Ishmael would have a lineage of his own and would live a lengthy life, the story leaves him behind and moves toward Isaac and his descendants. Names sometimes referred to the actual skin tone of dark-complexioned people. For example, Kedar means to be dark. Thus, the Kedarites are a dark-skinned people. We aren't given as much insight into Rebekah's struggle as we got with Sarah's, but note that they could not conceive for 20 years. Unlike the custom of the day, in which the older son would get the birthright and the blessing, the older served the younger. The older was covered with red hair like a fur coat, and they named him Esau. He was also called Edom, which is the Hebrew word for red. The younger came out grasping Esau's heel with his hand. So they named him Jacob, which means, he grasps the heel. Esau was outgoing, while Jacob was a homebody. Isaac loved Esau because he was a man's man, and Rebekah loved Jacob because he loved spending time at home. Isaac and Rebekah were as much to blame as anyone in the feud between the boys. Esau gave his inheritance to Jacob in exchange for a bowl of food. We see here the character flaws of both sons. He even made sure to put Esau on the hook by having him swear an oath. Jacob's grasping and deceiving ways are on full display here. Esau, on the other hand, proved to be impulsive and short-sighted. When faced with the prospect of losing his double inheritance, he reasoned, "I'm about to die, so what good is a birthright to me?" Don't be the impulsive fool that Esau was, throwing away your future for momentary pleasure. Please like, share, subscribe.